So the ever-evolving landscape of the video game industry has given birth to a plethora of online multiplayer games. Games like PUBG and Fortnite dominate the streaming scene by huge margins, and games like Overwatch are so popular that Blizzard actually committed the resources to create an official esports league for the game. Gamers today have their pick of online multiplayer games, and at this point it's totally expected that not everyone will be playing a game at launch. With this in mind, a lot of experienced players have taken it upon themselves to offer their assistance to newcomers of their respective games. The Destiny community specifically has taken to calling these people Sherpas. What is a Sherpa though, really? Sherpas are actually a group of Himalayans that help guide inexperienced people through the mountains in order to ensure safe passage. It's only natural that this term was taken and applied this way in gaming, as it does fit quite well. I got into Destiny super late in the first game's life, so needless to say there weren't a lot of new players around to get together and try raids with. So I enlisted the help of a good friend of mine to guide or Sherpa me through Destiny's famous King's Fall raid. While the experience of trying the raid was definitely something I wanted to do and don't regret, I found myself really not enjoying my time, and I couldn't figure out why for the longest time. Around that same time, another group of friends of mine were talking about how much they love this game called Warhammer End Times Vermintide. SparkNote's version of the game, it's a survival horde mode game akin to the Left 4 Dead series, but set in the Warhammer universe where you fight off the Skaven, giant rat monsters basically. I saw them playing it on Steam pretty much every night for a good month or two, so I decided to pick up the game when it went on sale. Now, they had been playing it for months, so naturally they had leveled up all the 5 available characters considerably, which should have been a good thing for me. After all, having a bunch of superpowered allies next to me to help me in case I got into trouble is a good thing, right? Not right. Because of their higher levels, they always wanted to play on the harder difficulties that required stronger gear. Thus, I was always either hiding behind them as they did all the fighting, or getting pummeled when I got caught alone. Despite the interesting premise of the game and addictive gameplay, I ended up putting down Vermintide and moving on pretty quickly. For some reason, this one bothered me way more than other games that I had fallen off of. I really liked the idea of Vermintide and I wanted to like the game, but something was there just telling me that I wasn't having fun whenever I was playing it. I thought about it for a while before finally getting my answer in the form of Destiny 2. Unlike Destiny 1, I hit the ground running with Destiny 2 at launch, and quickly dove into the game and got myself to the recommended light level for the raid called Leviathan. This time, instead of being led through the raid by my friend like I had in Destiny 1, he and I both jumped in blind with his clan, so neither of us, or the clan for that matter, knew what was happening. What happened after this was probably one of the best nights of playing Destiny that I've ever had. Between trying to figure out the way certain puzzles work, to laughing ourselves stupid whenever we messed up something, to triumphantly cheering when we figured out one of the puzzles, the night was an absolute blast, and I didn't want to stop until we beat the raid, even if I stayed up all night. This was a dramatic change from my King's Fall raid experience back during Destiny 1, and I was happy that I gave Destiny a second chance until the game proved to be a boring grind and left players little to do, and the Curse of Osiris ended up not being that great. And while I'm sure those of you watching this are already starting to string together my point here, while it was happening, I didn't quite put the pieces together and just sort of went about my life moving from game to game. Then a sequel for Vermintide was brought up one day by my friends. While my experience with Destiny 1 was slightly negative, my experience with Vermintide 1 was much more negative. With that in mind, I held off on buying Vermintide 2 until I was asked to participate in a stream of the game with a website that I work for. Upon loading into the game the first time, you're put through a tutorial level to learn the controls and the mechanics, and I found myself having a lot of fun. I was alone, so I could finally listen to the dialogue and get a better sense of the game's lore. Then I played a mission with a rando team that seemed to be just as lost as I was, so we had fun figuring things out together. I started thinking that maybe I could get really into Vermintide 2 and just write off Vermintide 1 as an unfortunate experience. Then I decided to play with my friends again. Now, they had bought the game during its closed beta phase and played consistently every week, so they were still way more experienced than I was. They knew where every secret item was to help us level up faster and seemed to have done all the exploring already, so they weren't really interested in exploring with me anymore, and I can't say that I blame them. They were looking for the best and quickest way to finish the quest. However, I did start to feel that same feeling that I got during Vermintide 1. I wasn't having as much fun anymore. Then it hit me. I hate being Sherpa'd through games. I absolutely hate having someone spoil the entire reason I enjoy playing games, which is to accomplish something by figuring it out myself. I am not the strategy guy type, and I never will be, because I do not want someone trying to tell me how I should or should not play a game. Looking back even further from Vermintide 1, I have always felt this way. My most egregious example is a friend of mine, let's call him Ron, that's not his real name, and StarCraft 2. See, I took baby steps into PC gaming, and when I say baby steps, I mean I started gaming on a friggin' MacBook. One game that ran well on the Mac, however, was StarCraft 2, and seeing as I hadn't tried an RTS since Age of Empires 2, I was really excited to try a more modern take on the genre. That was until my friend Ron got my battle tag and we played a match together. I kid you not, the entire time he was trying to, air quotes, advise me on how to best play StarCraft 2, implying that I wouldn't be having as much fun as I could be without his help. He simply would not allow me to experiment and try things that might fail without texting me entire paragraphs explaining why my tactics wouldn't work. He took all of the fun out of the game for me, and I walked away from it for good, only reinstalling it recently to get this footage. While my friends in Vermintide were not guilty of this specific thing that Ron did, I still felt like their ability to basically delete enemies at the click of a mouse hindered my ability to have fun in learning how to fight. I went back into the game the next day with another friend who was still learning the game, and despite the fact that we failed the quest twice, had a lot more fun because we felt like we grew from the experience. We gained something from the quest other than just loot. We gained a sense of accomplishment. That is why I like being given the freedom to explore a game for myself, even if it means not playing with my friends at first. In the end, I hope they understand that, because if they do, then they'll eventually gain a teammate who legitimately understands and loves the game in the same way that they do. Thanks for listening, everyone. Let me know what you think in the comments, and later.